All right, Pogba, Amorim talks have been heard. Looks like the transfer of this guy to Manchester United is obviously coming close. And we're also having Ruben Amorim having something to say about Bruno Fernandes and his performance against Everton as we gear up for hosting Ipswich in a game that we are supposed to win. If at all we are to find us or put ourselves in a position of really winning big. So smash like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rock and David is my name, and hope you guys are really having fun in here. So this is the channel that brings you your latest news and information from the club of Manchester United, and we are here to obviously continue with that Paul Pogba story. And remember, we are really having in a partner that is with us known as St. Maria Goretti Katende. Registration is in progress for S1s, S2s, S3s and S5s. And if you feel like you really have a child, a sibling, a nephew and so on and so forth, please do the needful and see to it that you get in the rest of these students in there for you, because they really have some good teachers, good compound, laboratories, computer laboratories, football pitches, and so on and so forth. It's a very good school that will leave you turned on. Call them on +256 702 478 536. There is +256 702 564 109, and the others. You can as well go onto their website, and you can as well go into the description box below. After the title, you'll see the link for the admissions. Click on it and apply, and you will thank me later, because your child will never lack in as far as knowledge is concerned, and developing or skilling him to see to it that he can survive in this world that is a global village. And internet is one of their biggest studies that they obviously get into your students. Now, yesterday I told you that Paul Pogba has been offered to Manchester United, and now we have another source known as Philsport. Philsport obviously is one of those like third tier media outlets, and they do report on football, tennis, rugby, basketball, Formula One, and everything else. So they've come out and told us the following about Paul Pogba and Ruben Amorim. That Pogba has held talks with Ruben Amorim. Manchester United would be ready to offer him a renewable one-year contract. United would like to negotiate a low salary with many bonuses. Now, the talks are on in between Amorim and Paul Pogba. That means United have gone ahead to obviously look around and really understand that maybe they need Paul Pogba. In a story that I brought here yesterday, we were told that the reason as to why Manchester United is really into a deal like this, it's because they've gone ahead to find themselves in a position of really having very many injuries. And when you look at the injuries of Manchester United, they're really scaring. Lisandro Martinez, Mazarawi has joined the queue, John Evans, there is Kobe Mainoo, there is Amadi Diallo, there is Luke Shaw, there is who else? Toby Collier is another one. We're having close to 8 injuries, and those players are really out. There is also Mason Mount, who is really injured. So United are like, there is a player that can obviously come in through and obviously do the job for us in here, the club of Manchester United, that is Paul Pogba, and they're trying to negotiate on a low salary with many bonuses. Like him being an injury-prone player, they're like, every game you play, you're obviously going to be getting this amount of money. Every goal you score, an assist, every win United gets, you are going to be really doing the needful. Meaning that they can give him a weekly wage of like £100,000, but if he performs well in a week, he can see his wage rise up to £200,000 a week. And that is really great, that if every player is on a performance-based contract, I think the club will obviously benefit best. And I think these are kind of contracts that United should start signing with his players. Like you saw how they did with Alejandro Garnacho. Gave her a deal of £27,000 a week, but if Atleti performed very well that week, they would rise to £50,000 a week. The same applies to Kobe Mainoo. That's how you should obviously get contracts of these players that you feel like are really having something to prove. And Paul-Ebile Pogba, I think, will be excited to find himself playing for the club of Manchester United, because it will really send a message that he's still a top-class player. If he goes to Marseille, that will be a downgrade. And I think his agent is really pushing hard to see to it that he joins Manchester United. Is he Pimenta? He's also the agent of Matthias de Ligt. And that is it. That is the former management company of Raiola, who went ahead, obviously, passed on, I think, is it last year? So, Paul-Ebile Pogba is obviously willing to come to Manchester United. And yesterday, he was seen at the Inter Miami Stadium where Messi went ahead to obviously do a lot of magic. And that is him and Serena Williams. That is Paul-Ebile Pogba. He's in the US. That's where he's really training from, and he's really having fun. He's one of those players that you have to look at and really understand that he's really one of those that he's really good to go. And he has gone ahead to put in a very beautiful shift as Paul-Ebile Pogba in most of his journey to return to top-class football and top-class performance. That is Paul-Ebile Pogba, and I don't know what your thoughts are about him coming to Manchester United. I would love to see it that we don't really get him on, but looks like the side that was opposing the coming in through of Paul Pogba has been overpowered by the injuries that we are really having. And the manager is like, let's get him in, and he is there to see to it that he does the needful in that midfield. You never know. He might obviously pull out a rabbit from the hat, and he might find himself doing the needful. And a 1-year contract at Manchester United, that means it's obviously going to expire next year, in the summer of next year. So we'll wait and see how that pans out. But Paul-Ebile Pogba has gone ahead, obviously, hold talks with Ruben Amorim. And I know most of you are asking yourselves, what have they been talking about? Because Ruben Amorim will get the phone and talk to Paul-Ebile Pogba and tell him what he expects from him. He doesn't want a laziness from Paul-Ebile Pogba. And I know, before they talked, Ruben Amorim had to first inquire from the players that have been here and have gone ahead to obviously work with Paul-Ebile Pogba at Manchester United. Some of those are Dallo. There is Harry Maguire. There is Luke Shaw. There is Bruno Fernandes. You can talk about Amadi Diallo. He was there with Paul-Ebile Pogba. Even Garnacho was training with the first team. Who else has been here? I think those are the players that have been here, that have worked with Paul-Ebile Pogba, and I think they can obviously give him or paint a better picture of what the player he is. So that is him with Serena Williams, and also David Beckham, one of the Man United legends, came up and obviously put in a very huge shift. Remember, he's the owner of this team, and he was with Serena Williams into the mix when the game of football get done and dusted into the US. That's where they are. And in that game, Inter Miami FC went ahead to obviously I think they drew with New York, right? They drew with New York. Is it New York Times? New York Miami. It ended 2-2. That is it. That game ended 2-2. 2-2. Inter Miami went ahead to obviously draw with New York City. And Lionel Messi was not onto the score sheet again, but you know what he obviously does into a game like that. Suarez led the line with Lionel Messi. Sergio Busquets was into that midfield. Jordi Alba. So that's how things panned out into the mix. And some people are like, we might be talking like that, yet David Beckham was convincing Paul Ebile Pogba to obviously come and start playing for Inter Miami, something that I don't believe that Paul Pogba is yet to do, because he knows to it that at the age of 32, he has 3 more years playing at top level football, and then the remaining years he might find himself will go to Saudi Arabia. And by the way, he's a very big brand, and he's a Muslim, meaning that going to Saudi Arabia will obviously make him a lot of money, and maybe David Beckham would have gone ahead obviously discussing a deal with him that he discussed with Lionel Messi when he was still at Barcelona, and told him that when you feel like you are done with Europe, please, we have an offer for you. And they had worked on that deal for years. That's why it was easy for Lionel Messi to obviously come up and say to it that he agrees a deal, because they knew how lucrative that deal was going to be. Then Ruben Amorim came out and said the following on Bruno Fernandes, that he's really important in any position that he plays. He's the guy that can, sometimes in the hardest moments, hold the ball, and that he's really important of the team. He's a leader. He scored the first goal and helped us get a point. Obviously, he helped not get a point, but for me, I have my reservations with Bruno Fernandes, and I've already told you that he's not a modern number 10. If you've gone ahead to look at the likes of the other number 10s, you'll obviously understand how things really continue to really live out of his means as a player. That is Paul Ebile Pogba. So, for me, as Bruno Fernandes, and however much he has been hailed, he's one of those players that I believe should leave the club of Manchester United. But the salary he was given, £375,000 a week, guys, that's a lot of money for that club, for a player who is 30, and we shouldn't be spending like that. We should be having players whose maximum wage a week should be £300,000 a week. And when Ineos was coming in through, their plan was to see to it that they really have a player not exceed that amount of money unless it's exceptional. We all know that Bruno has been the most consistent player, everything came in through, but I think we should move on from that. Let's get in other players that can play into that position and test them around. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Rock and David is my name. Your thoughts on to Paul Pogba Amorim dialogue held are welcome in the comment section below. And do you think Bruno Fernandes required the help from the manager? I'm out. Bye-bye.